probably a lot noisier on that stage when Jesus came into Pilate's courtroom. And you guys are going to be part of that crowd here in a little bit. As you know, we spent all night going to the Garden of Gethsemane. Rest. Now you're standing before the one who holds life and death. Let's see.
The religious leaders arrested Jesus and brought him before the Roman governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate, hoping that he would sentence Jesus to death. The stakes were high. Some crowds wanted Jesus to be king. Others, riled up by the Jewish leaders, wanted him to be killed. As part of the crowd in Pilate's courtyard, I'd like to invite you to follow along in your programs as my husband reads from Matthew 27. You'll notice there are several phrases in bold text toward the end. When it comes to those portions, please read them loudly and all together so that we can get a sense of what it must have been like to be in that crowd that day. This is how the scene unfolded in Matthew.
Now, it was Pilate's custom each year during the Passover celebration to release one prisoner to the crowd, anyone they wanted. This year, there was a notorious prisoner named Barabbas. As the crowds gathered before Pilate's house that morning, he asked them, "Which one do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" He knew very well that the religious leaders had arrested Jesus out of envy. Just then, as Pilate was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him this urgent message: "Leave that innocent man alone. I suffered through a terrible nightmare about him last night." Meanwhile, the leading priests and the ruling elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas to be released and for Jesus to be put to death. So Pilate asks again, "Which of these two do you want me to release to you?" Here comes your part. The crowd shouted back,
Barabbas!
"Then what should I do with Jesus, who is called the Messiah?" They shouted back,
Crucify him!
"Why?" Pilate demanded. "What crime has he committed?" But the mob roared even louder,
Crucify him!
Pilate saw that he wasn't getting anywhere and that a riot was developing. So he sent for a bowl of water and washed his hands. And before the crowd, he said, "I am innocent of this man's blood. His responsibility is yours." And all the people yelled back,
We will take responsibility for his death, we and our children.
So Pilate released Barabbas to them. He ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip, then turned him over to the Roman soldiers to be crucified.
Pilate compromised and condemned Jesus to a torturous death on the cross. Then he washed his hands, symbolically turning his back on Jesus and on the truth. In front of you are several pitchers of water. As we conclude this station, I'd like to invite you up to one of the pitchers to wash your hands over the large basins. While you're doing that, pray this simple prayer: Lord, forgive me for the moments when I have washed my hands of you, instead of worshiping you as my one true King.
Come as you will.